Hi everyone, welcome back to Job 1 for All. In this video, we are going to continue the utility classes topic, and now we are going to talk about strings. So I think strings is one of the most used classes in the whole Java ecosystem, and I think is one of the things that we'll be using the most. So let's give a special notation, and for that, since it's a new topic, let's create a new package. Right click, new package, and new string test. Let's create a new class, string test 01. Okay, so we know a couple of things about strings. First thing is that string is a class and it's final. It means that we cannot change the behavior of how it works. And in this video, we are going to see how it works. The first thing you should know about strings is that they are immutable. This means once a string is created in Java, you can never change the string itself. You may think that you are changing, but actually what Java is doing behind the scenes is creating a new one with the new value that you are passing by. So this process is called string interning. So it's a computer science topic. You can take a look a little bit more on Wikipedia or any other website. But basically, it's just a method for storing only one copy of each distinct string value. And this will make the strings immutable. Now, in Java, it works more or less like this. You know a little bit about the heap. The heap is where everything is Java. The objects are stored. And in that heap, we have a special place. This special place is called string constant pool. This means that every time you create a string, Java will put the string right here in this space. And the strings that you have here basically are going to be reused if you try to create a new one with exactly the same value. So how that works? Imagine that we have here string name. When you do this, the first thing Java will do is go to the string pool and check, hey, do we have William here already? And it will see that's empty, and then it will give a new value here, William. So we have now a variable called name that's having a reference to this William. If we create another name, name2, we will do the same process again. Java will go back to the string pool and ask, hey, do we have a William already? And it will notice that we have one that matches exactly, like letter by letter, uppercase by uppercase, lowercase by lowercase. And then it will tell the reference variable, just reuse this value, because there is no purpose in creating a new one since we have one exactly that we're looking for. Now, when we were working with strings, I told you that is not a good idea to compare strings using equals, because you are not comparing the value of your string, you are comparing the reference value. So in this case, when we do name.equals name2, we are checking if the value that we have inside these reference variables are the same. So I'm checking if William matches William. But now I want to see if the reference that they have is the same. I want to see if both of them are referencing the same string in memory. For that, you can always use the double equal sign. So name equals name2. And it's true. Now, there is one method inside the strings that can concatenate more strings. And as the name implies, the name is concat. So I'm saying concat the name that we have here, that's William, with one blank space plus the word Swanee. basically now what we are doing is, or we may think that we are doing is, we are getting William and concatenating with Swanee, and now this will return true, right? Right, it returns true, but what happened here? It should return false, because name now should be William Swanee. If I print the name, you will notice that it's still William. That's because the strings are immutable. What we are doing here, it's exactly something like this. We have William, right? And then we are saying, do the concatenation with Swanee. So basically Java is creating one space and then Swanee, but we are concatenating. So it means that another string will be created. That string will be William Swanee. So in this case, we have three strings now. The first one, that's the name. The second one, the value that we have inside the concat. And the third one, that is the result of the concatenation. But if you noticed, I didn't change the arrows. This means that these arrows, the reference variables, they are still pointing to William. Now, if I change something like this, now I'm saying that name will do a reference to the result that we have of this expression. And now this name will have a reference to William Swanee. And now this will return false. And the name is William Swanee. So basically you have to be careful, because strings immutability can have like a huge effect on your performance. Right now we are only using one name, but imagine that, for example, if I do something like this, we were looking for string interning, right? And I come here and let's say that I just copy this entire text. So for example, like this. What's going to happen here is that, okay, you have one huge string. All of this is going to your pool of strings. So it's not, the Java is not going to create each of these words separately. Basically, this entire text will go into your pool of strings and it will be stored here. And imagine that, for example, you just want to change one tiny comma. When you do this, Java basically will duplicate this entire string on your pool of strings, but with the new value without the comma. So you have to be very careful on how you use strings. And of course, Java will provide support classes that will help with these kind of problems, something that we are going to see in the next video. So for now, you have to remember the immutability, and that is another thing that if you are taking certifications or someone is asking tricky questions on interviews, you have to be careful. Imagine, because since this is a reference variable, we can create object. Now we can do something like this, new string, and we can pass the value William. So sometimes options make things a little bit difficult, but what's happening here? Basically, you are creating a new object, and this object is having a reference to the William inside of the pool of strings. Let's see what happened. We have an object, and as you can see, the object does not live in the string constant pool. And this William that we have inside this object, actually, it's this William. But the name tree is having a reference to the object, not the literal string. So basically the literal, what we call literal string, is when we have something like this. It's inside of the string pool, the pool of strings. But when we have one object wrapping the string, we do not have direct access to that string pool. So basically the reference, as you can see in this image, the reference for the name tree and, for example, the name 2, that's still referencing William, they should be the same, right? Actually, no, because the object itself is having a reference to this William. The name tree is having a reference to this object, so they are completely different in memory. And if we come here and say, show me if the name2 reference is the same as the name3 reference, Ctrl-Shift-F10, and you will see that we have the return false, because they are not pointing to the same object, so they are having different reference variables. But we can fix this. Name3 can return the intern of its string, in this case where William is allocated, by calling intern. And as you can see, it returns a string. So basically now this method is returning the intern string that this object, the new string, the object name3 is having a reference to the comparison between name2 and name3. Executing now, you will see that the result is true. So in the end, there are three things having been going on here. The first one, you are creating a reference variable. The second one, we are creating a string object. And if you had something different, for example, imagine that this was not in the pool of strings, you would still have it created there. In the pool of strings. So for example, I can change here William2, and I can create a name4, for example, string name4, and here William2, and name3 equals name4. I can still get the name4.intern, because this is like an object and you can call methods directly from the string literal, like the same as we are doing directly with the reference variable. But in this case, there is no purpose of doing this because we already have this value, so we can get from name3. So Ctrl-Shift-F10, and as you can see, the value is true, even inverting the order. Okay, so I think that's a lot of information for one video, but I hope you understand. For your daily work, what you have to remember that is strings are immutable. The string class is final, so you cannot change the behavior. The behavior you are seeing here is applied to the entire planet using Java. And the performance of strings may vary depending on for example, the JVM that you are using, because in the end, this is JVM taking care of it. And if you are going to work with a lot of strings, it's better to use one of the classes that we are going to see in the next video. So let's move on. See you in the next video. Bye.